Hi friends, my name is Ankit Jaswal. I am the CEO and founder of Think My Learning Solution. And today in this video, we are going to discuss how students can clear chemistry very easy. So in chemistry, we have only five chapters. But then if you see, around 2 to 3 chapters are very big. 2 chapters are too small. Okay. So let's start with first. I will discuss all the important questions from each chapter, and then at the end, I will tell you what all chapters you can do so that you can clear chemistry very easily. So coming to corrosion, now corrosion, I have written all the type of questions that can be asked in corrosion. So let's start with definition of corrosion. There is a question that is asked what is corrosion? Then and it will be supported by one more question, right? Explain any one of the type of corrosion. So there are two types of corrosion. One is dry and another is wet. In dry corrosion, due to oxygen is very important. There is always a question on this in the paper. So if you see the papers, here it is asked, what is oxidation corrosion? Explain why aluminum metal exhibits good corrosion resistance in atmospheric oxygen. Or there can be a question, why do gold and platinum metal not get corroded in atmospheric oxygen? Or discuss the role of nature of oxide formed in oxidation corrosion. So this all comes in this part, the stable oxide flip. So if you see Think My Notes, it's on the page number yeah. So on page number 15, you will see stable oxide film. So in that, all these questions that I told are answered. So in the stable oxide film, you will get why any metal exhibits good corrosion resistance in atmospheric oxygen. Other type of questions that are asked on dry corrosion is what is dry corrosion? Explain with example how nature of oxidized product affect the rate of corrosion. Oxidized product. So it comes here again. Okay. So what is dry corrosion? And then this part was asked. Next is wet corrosion. Wet, yeah, or we can call electrochemical corrosion. You should always know the other name also. Like dry corrosion is also known as chemical corrosion. So they might twist it and ask, instead of dry they will ask chemical corrosion. Okay. So in wet and electrochemical corrosion, again there are two main types: evolution of hydrogen type, absorption of oxygen. So here, what they generally ask is, what is electrochemical corrosion? With suitable diagram and electrode reaction, explain electrochemical mechanism of rusting of iron in neutral aqueous medium. Or they can ask, explain mechanism of electrochemical corrosion of iron by hydrogen evolution in acidic medium. Both these questions are covered in this type. One in evolution of hydrogen type, one in absorption of oxygen. Generally, if you see the papers, there are around 2 questions on this. So one can be on dry corrosion, one can be on wet corrosion. See, generally one question is for sure. Many times there are 2 questions, one on this, one on this. Okay. Now coming to types of electrochemical corrosion. There are around 5 types of electrochemical corrosion: galvanic, concentration or differential radiation, pitting, intragranular, and stress. And this, they can what they have asked is explain any one type of electrochemical corrosion, or they are specifically asked explain intragranular corrosion with suitable diagram and example, explain galvanic corrosion with the help of suitable diagram and example, and define corrosion, explain stress corrosion with appropriate diagram. Okay, so almost on each of, only leaving pitting, all the four they have asked one or the other question differently. Like they are mentioning this type and they are telling you to explain with diagram and suitable examples. So again a very important question. If you don't see a question on this, you will surely see a question on this. Okay. Now one of the most important questions in corrosion, and that you will see in every paper, is factors affecting rate of corrosion. So there are around 8 to 9 types in this. Okay. Factors affecting rate of corrosion. Yeah. So mainly it is because of nature of metal. So there you have got position in galvanic series, over voltage, relative areas of anodic and cathodic parts, purity of metal, nature of corrosion product, then in a nature of environment section and temperature, moisture, influence of pH, concentration of electrolytes. Now whatever all I read in this, they will ask 3 or 4. They will mention, you know, factors affecting the rate of corrosion due to over voltage, or due to position in galvanic series, or due to relative area of anodic and cathodic parts. So in this way, they can ask any of these 3. Okay, so there are around 9. I think so. There are around 9. Any 3 to 4 they can ask for around 5 to 6 marks. It is generally asked for 6 marks, 2 marks for each one. Okay, so factors affecting. Then next comes is methods to decrease the rate of corrosion. There are around 5 methods, but then the most important method is cathodic protection. So in this question, if you are not doing all 5 methods, that is okay. But then always do cathodic protection. Okay, in cathodic protection there are 2: sacrificial anodic protection and impressed current cathodic protection. So in this, they can ask specifically question on sacrificial anodic protection, or they can ask immersed current cathodic protection, or they can say, explain cathodic protection, explain any one type of cathodic protection. So what is cathodic protection, and explain any one type. So the questions that were asked on this was, what is cathodic protection? Explain immersed current method for corrosion control. Then what is the principle of cathodic protection? Method of corrosion control. Explain any one method of corrosion control by cathodic protection. Again, there was one more question. What is the principle of cathodic protection? Method of corrosion control. Explain sacrificial anodic protection method. Okay. So such questions were asked on this. So if you see the paper, generally one question is for sure on cathodic protection. Okay. Or they will say any one type. So this is about cathodic protection. Now coming to metal coatings. Again, there are around 4 to 5 types of metal coatings, and that the most important is galvanizing tinning. In this case, they might tell you to write a short note on galvanizing and tinning, or they can ask you to differentiate between galvanizing and tinning. Okay, so these are the important questions on this. Then there is a question on metal cladding. Okay, so in metal cladding there are a few more types, and they specifically ask for those. Like metal cladding is one. Then they ask cementation or diffusion coatings. Okay, so this is what was asked. The question that was asked here is, what are metal coatings? Explain the following methods of coating. One is metal cladding, and second is cementation coating. Okay. The other question that was asked is, what is metal cladding? How is clad obtained? Another question was, what are metal coatings? Distinguish between anodic and cathodic coatings. Okay, so these were the questions that was asked specifically on metal coating, metal cladding, and coatings. Okay, now again there is one more important question that is generally seen is on paints. So on paints, what they can ask is, define paint, explain any 4 constituents of paint and state functions of each constituent. State the characteristics of good paint. And there was one more question asked, list 3 main constituents of varnish and give functions of each. Okay, so this is what are the questions that are generally seen in the corrosion. If you see, if you are doing corrosion, like you have to do corrosion in any way. So if you are thinking of skipping corrosion at least do certain questions like cathodic protection. Paints is a very simple topic. Then evolution of hydrogen type or absorption of oxygen, because there is one question generally seen, galvanic or concentration or differential aeration. The second type concentration is also called as differential aeration. So you should know the second name also, intragalvanic. So at least try to do this important questions. Factors affecting the rate of corrosion will surely appear in the paper. So this is about corrosion. Now coming to alloys. Alloys, not very big chapter. Few topics, but then are very important. So alloys, what are alloys? Stated purpose. So they can ask any four purpose or any five purpose. So in purpose, like what are the purpose of making alloys? Now the next important topic is plain carbon steel. So if you see the papers, generally one question is always asked on plain carbon steel. What they can ask is what are plain carbon steels? Explain the type. What are the types of plain carbon steel? There are around four types, and then limitation or drawback of plain carbon steel. Okay, so the questions that were asked on these topics are, see, on the topic of first, what are alloys? Explain any four purpose of making alloys with suitable examples. So 5 marks it was asked. Then coming to plain carbon steels, what are plain carbon steel? Mention any four drawbacks of plain carbon steel. Like, and the next question was, how are plain carbon steel classified based on carbon content? What are the drawbacks of plain carbon steel? These are the questions on this. Now, special effects on metal. Again, a very important question. If you don't see a question on this, surely a question on this will be asked. Now, special effects of metal. There are 5 to 6 metals. What they ask is, there was a question of this type. What are drawbacks of plain carbon steel? Explain special effect of the following metals. Following metal on the properties of alloy steel: nickel, chromium, cobalt, tungsten, molybdenum. So they will ask 3 or 4, okay, and for around 5 marks, 4 to 5 marks, okay. So this is again a very important question. Now next is composition, properties and uses. There are a lot of metals, and if you see, there is a big a table of this form. So there are a lot of metals: duralium, gunmetal, German silver, Wood's metal, and there are many more. But then in the papers, these are the 4 to 5 that has been asked lot of time. So composition, properties and uses. So try to do this properly, but also do the others. There are around 8 to 9 metals here. Try to do them all. Okay. They can ask for bronze also, high phosphor bronze, because those are a bit easier. Okay. The next important question is power metallurgy. Power metallurgy. If you see the papers, always one question is there from power metallurgy. Now that topic is bit huge. Okay. So in power metallurgy, the question that is, what is power metallurgy? Explain various steps. Now explain various steps is very huge topic. So there are around 4 steps, okay, but in each of them there are more, okay. So like one is preparation of metal or alloy powder is carried out by following methods, and there are 5 methods. Then mixing and blending is one method, stirring is one method, compacting, again a very important topic, is another method. In compacting there is cold pressing, power injection molding, important topic, and hot compression. So these are the various steps in power metallurgy. Again, a very easy topic, but then it's huge. So what they do is, they will not ask everything, but they will ask specific things from power metallurgy. The questions that they have asked is, what is power metallurgy? List various steps involved in power metallurgy. So they have to list. So you have to list down all the steps involved in power metallurgy, and then mention the aim of each step. So you have to mention only the aims of each step. So there are around 4 steps. You list down, when you are listing, try to list down subtopics also of the 4. But when you are only giving the aims, give the aims of only the 4. Don't give the aims of subtopics. Okay. Next question that was asked is, what is power metallurgy? How are the metal powders prepared using atomization, chemical reduction? So this was one question. What is compaction in power metallurgy? Explain power injection molding method of compaction with suitable diagram. First, ask for 5 marks. List the various steps involved in power metallurgy. Mention the aim of each step. Give 2 advantages of power metallurgy. What is power metallurgy? How are metal powders prepared? Okay, so this were questions asked on power metallurgy. There was one more. Write a short note on compacting and steering, sintering. For 5 marks was asked. Okay. One more important question apart from this is distinguish between brass and bronze. So if you see this topic, it basically has 5 important questions. One is what are alloys and its purpose. Second is plain carbon steel. Plain carbon steel is not a big, it's a 1.5 page answer which covers everything. Special effects on metals, again it's a 1 page answer which covers all the special effects. Composition, properties and uses, it is around 2 tables or 2 pages tables where there are a lot of metals. Try to remember this very well. Durarium, gunmetal, German silver, woods metal. Next is power metallurgy. Power metal definition, various steps involved. Various steps involved is a very important topic. There they will ask, see a sure question is what is power metallurgy, and then various steps they can ask you any of these. Okay, any one of them. So try to do all the steps properly. Difference between brass and bronze. Okay. Now coming to fuels. In fuels, now fuels becomes very important topic from some point of view. Okay. There are sums point of view. There are around 3 sums that are asked on fuels. Okay. So which can be around 14 marks. So you can fetch 14 marks very easily if you do sums. Even if you are planning to lead fuels, at least do the sums part of fuels. They are not very difficult. If you see in my notes, we have written the steps first that you have to remember for every problem, every type of problem, and then just follow those steps. So there are mainly 3 types. First is Dulong's formula, and there are 2 more types. In those 2, there are a few more types, few more sections. Okay, few more subsections. So just do that. They are quite easy. Once you just remember the steps, I think so you can solve that problem very easily. So around 14 marks you can fetch through fuels. So you can give 3 to 4 hours for only numericals of fuels and just try to score in that. Now coming to theory part of fuels, the questions that is asked are octane and cetane number. Next is propellant classification. Okay. So what are propellant and classification? Now on propellant, what they have asked is, what are propellants? Give their classification with an example of each type. Mention any 4 characteristics of a good propellant. Okay. And then the next one more question that was asked is, what are propellants? State important characteristics of good propellant. Okay. So easy question, not very difficult, but then it is asked for 3 to 4 marks. Next question that is lot of time seen is cracking and its type. So now in cracking, what they ask is, what is cracking of heavy oil? Mention any 4 advantages of catalytic cracking over thermal cracking. Catalytic cracking is very important question. If you see, if they ask about cracking, they mostly ask catalytic cracking. Okay. So other questions that have been asked is, with a neat diagram, explain one method of catalytic cracking. Mention any 4 advantages of catalytic cracking over thermal cracking. What is cracking of heavy oil? Mention any 4 advantages of catalytic cracking over thermal cracking. In catalytic cracking, there are 2 types. Okay, I have not mentioned here, but then there are 2 types. In one of the questions, it was asked, what is cracking? Explain fixed bed catalytic cracking with example. So they have asked the one of the types of those. So they might tell you to explain any one of them, or they might specifically mention one of the type. Fixed bed catalytic cracking is very important. Normally that is the one which is generally asked. I have not seen the other one. that are like in the papers they have asked, but then fixed bed catalytic cracking is always seen. Now next important question is clocking. And clocking in IC engines. So generally this question is saying what is meant by clocking in internal combustion engine? Define octane number. Name any two anti-knock agents. Now name any two anti-knock agents is almost again seen in every paper. Okay, and then it is the questions that is supported with it is define octane number and cetane number, or they might say define octane number of gasoline, how knocking tendency of gasoline 15 related to chemical structures of hydrocarbons is present. Okay. Uh, the next is define octane number of gasoline. Name any two anti-knock agents. Okay. So this is about knocking octane number of gasoline and two anti-knock agents. The next important question is refining of petroleum. So a question on refining of petroleum is asked. What they ask is, with a suitable diagram, explain process of refining of petroleum. Name any two fractions obtained. Okay. So this is about fuels. So from fuels, sums are very important, and then next is all these questions. Okay. So if you are thinking of naming few important questions, at least do what is octane and cetane number, two anti-knock agents. Okay, at least these two questions you try to do, and in cracking, at least try to do fixed bed, the fixed bed catalytic cracking with diagram. Okay. Now we come now in this I just forgot to add one more important question, that is biodiesel. Now a question generally seen in biodiesel, what they ask is what is biodiesel? Explain the esterification method for its synthesis. Mention advantage of biodiesel as fuel. Okay. Or they will ask what is biodiesel? Explain methods to obtain biodiesel from vegetable oil. What are the advantages of biodiesel? So one more topic, that is biodiesel, is been asked from this. So around 28 marks is asked from fuels. 14 marks is for problems, 14 marks is for theory. Okay, at least try to fetch 14 marks of problems. Now next two chapters are very easy. Composite materials and green chemistry. In composite materials, what they generally ask is what are composite materials? Its constituents and classification. In its constituents, matrix phase comes. Okay, so if we go to composites, yeah. So what are composite materials? They ask. What are the constituents of composite material? There are two: matrix phase and dispersed phase. In that, matrix phase is very important. They generally ask that. Okay. Now next is classification of composite material. When they say give classification of composite material, that time just give classification. Don't explain everything because it is asked for 3 marks. So you don't have to explain. You just have to list down. Just make a diagram of this type wherein you are just listing all in the table form, I can say. Okay. So generally this question is always seen in almost all people. Give classification of composite materials. Now in classification there are 3 main types, and then certain questions can be asked on any of those types. So the questions that have been asked from composites are: what are composite materials? Mention any 4 characteristics of composite materials. Give classification of composite materials. Define composite material, matrix phase and dispersed phase. So matrix phase and dispersed phase are nothing but constituents of composite material. Then there was one more question: define matrix phase of composite material, state function of matrix phase. Then another question was: what are glass fibered reinforced composite? Outline their properties, application and limitation. Now this is one of the classification of composite material. Then explain sandwich panel type layered structural composite with suitable diagram. Mention their application. One of the most important questions generally seen in every paper, sandwich panel. Okay. Then one more question that is seen is explain laminar composites with suitable examples. Another important question, there is only one type of question that is asked of adhesive action, is they will ask discuss the physical or the chemical factors influencing on adhesive actions. Okay, so you have to check what they have asked, physical or chemical, and then mention it, like answer it accordingly. Okay, and one more question that was asked is state the chemical factors influencing adhesive action. So in adhesive, there are only two, physical and chemical. Composite material definition, constituents and classification. Constituents, there is matrix and dispersed. Okay, so they can ask definition of this. Then in classification, there is glass fiber reinforced composite, sandwich panel, laminar panel. Okay, laminar composites. So these are some of the important questions from composites. Now coming to green chemistry. Again, not much questions. One question is, what is green chemistry? List 12 principles. Okay, so what they ask is what is green chemistry, and then in the list the 12 principles of green chemistry. When they have told list 12 principles, you have to list all the 12 principles. Okay, so each principle will carry few marks. So you have to list all 12 principles. There are times when they ask questions on certain principles also. So if you remember with 1-2 sentences, that is again good. Other important question that they ask is explain conventional and green synthesis of adipic acid or indigo dye. This was like in the last papers. This were only the two topics that was there. There is an addition to this, and there is one more added to green ibuprofen. Okay, so ibuprofen. So they might ask explain conventional and green synthesis of adipic acid or indigo dye or ibuprofen. Okay, so a fixed question on this will surely appear. So from any of those three, one will generally you will see in the paper. Here important is the chemical reactions. Once you have written the chemical reactions properly, you get almost you are almost getting full marks. So once you have written the chemical reaction, just explain few things. Okay, so here practice the chemical reactions properly. Now other question that was asked is prevention of waste principle, which comes in this 12 principles, green reagent, and one more important question is atom economic sums. So a sum on atom economy is generally seen in every paper. So around 3 to 4 marks sum on atom economy is seen. So now if you are looking from clearing point of view, what I suggest is do corrosion properly. Okay, you should not skip corrosion. Okay, once you are done with corrosion, now come to fuels. Do fuels sums properly. Do the sum of atom economy properly. Explain conventional and green synthesis of adipic acid, indigo dye, or the third one. Okay, do that properly. What are composite materials? Definition, constituent, or classification. This is generally seen in every paper. Influence of physical, chemical factors on adhesive action. Okay. Then this composite properties and uses, because again this is seen in every paper. And power metallurgy I can see. Okay. And carbon plane chemistry. So if you do this corrosion, sums of fuels, sum of atom economy, question here, and composite material definition, influence of this. If you can do this chapter properly, full, then well and good. But then if you are thinking of skipping, at least do this influence and the composite material definition, consequence, and classification. Okay. This, if you attempt this, then around 24 marks you get. 24 marks question with options are asked here. 14 marks sums can be is asked. One sum will be here. So around 18 marks sums are asked in paper. So if you see the 24 is passing, 18 marks you can easily score from sums only. Once you get full marks in sums, it's all about 4-5 theory questions that you attempt and you can just clear the paper properly. So sums are very important. Don't skip sums. Okay, and then if you get more time, try to do power metallurgy very properly. Okay, and I think so that's it. Try to do corrosion here, fuel sums, this parts, your influence, composite material definition, constituents, classification, and explain conventional and green synthesis of adipic acid and amino acid. Try to do what is green chemistry and best 12 principles. So if you leave this, it's okay, but then try to do sums. Again, theory part is not that difficult, but then it depends on time, how much time frame you have. Okay. So I think so. This is what is my suggestion for chemistry 2. If you have not got the notes of chemistry 2 of ThinkMath, please check it out. We do have the ebook of this available on Amazon Kindle, so you can get the soft copy of the same from Amazon Kindle also. Next will be my next video will be again on STA, and that will be again from the notes of ThinkMath. So if you have not ordered that, please order on www.thinkmine.com/notes. It will get delivered to you within 2 days. Okay. And also the important questions that I have written here, I am uploading on our website www.thinkmine.com. You can check it out in the important sections, and important section for chemistry 2, important questions for chemistry 2. So you might get all the questions that I have written and that I have discussed now, so that it will be helpful for you. So do visit our website www.thinkmine.com for the important questions. So that's it for this video. Please share with your friends so that even they get to know about how they can go about chemistry subject. Do like this video and do subscribe to our channel so that you keep getting updates of the videos that are coming. Okay. Thank you.